Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bomber Banter. It is team selection night for our game against Carlton on Sunday, the King's Eve birthday clash. It is round 13. How is everybody going after our week post the Brisbane game? How are we all feeling? I assume most of you have had a look at the team changes, the extended team, obviously, because we play on a Sunday. What are you all thinking? Hi, Daniel. Hi, Brett. Thanks for being here. I quite like the changes. Obviously, one very surprising inclusion. I don't think he's going to get in, he's going to come into the team, but still surprising to see him there. A bit of housekeeping. For any of you who don't know, I had the pleasure of joining Terry from Blue Abroad today, for a preview of the Blues and Essendon clash. And as we all know, he is a pioneer in this space, so that was a lot of fun. I did, however, just made the mistake of clicking onto his channel before for his team selection show, and they were talking about the preview show that I was on. And as soon as I clicked on, the first comment from, I'm assuming, a man was, I did check out Bomber Banter, and it's a poor man's Blue Abroad. So that was great timing from my point of view. So what I will say to that is that it's been a month and a half, 2 months that I've been doing this. So please be nice, go easy. A lot of you will also remember the Carlton editions that we had in the fan cams after the Brisbane game, and the one who actually got on to the fan cams. What was his name again? Scotty. And there was some comments there that they're going to be joining again to probably tell us how shit we are after the game on Sunday. So you all have to promise me, my Essendon family, that you will protect me and come to my aid. But all right, enough of me talking. As you all know, I am joined tonight by one of the absolute legends of fan channels. Carlton actually have quite a few of them, to be honest. And this man is absolutely at the top of the ladder. He is wonderfully funny and entertaining. It is Pommy.
No pressure. Wonderfully funny. I'll have to put that on my CV as well. People doubt that. But thank you very much for having me. I heard that at the start. A poor man's Blue Abroad. I would say a great woman's Bomber Banter. Comparison.
That was a bit harsh.
An old man once told me that comparison is the thief of joy. So I always live by that motto.
That's a great one. And another one I love and try and, I've got a couple of copies printed out around my place is how Brené Brown has said, if you're not in the arena getting your ass kicked as well, I'm not interested in your feedback. So if you're from the cheap seats, throwing out vitriol and judgment, you mean nothing. You do not get to pierce my sphere. So I think along this journey, I'm going to have to keep reminding myself of that. So, but you, Pommy, have been one of the most supportive and encouraging kind of guiding lights for me in this space so far in the past 2 months. You've really kept me aloft and kept me going with the advice and support. So I do thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much for allowing me on the show. You know what? You've made me like Essendon fans all of a sudden. So I'm looking forward to this one. Our teams do battle.
Oh, okay. Oh, J-Baggers. Here we go. The algorithm got me again. Two great footy minds. Pommy's a star. J-Baggers, I see you all the time on the fan cam. So thank you. Thank you so much for being one of the good ones. Really appreciate you. I promise you can mute my content moving forward. But I don't think this one's going to be too painful. So, all right, Pommy. So I'm assuming you've had a nice little flick through the changes. So let's go through them. For Carlton, I'll talk you through first. In comes Jack Silvani, Zach Williams, Orazio Fantasia, Hudson O'Keefe, and Alex Chincotta. Out, Harry O'Farrell and Lewis Young. Hudson O'Keefe is the debutant should he get a game. For us, for Essendon, in comes Darcy Parish, welcome back, Luaman Lual, and Liam McMahon, who will also be debuting should he get a game. Now, these are the extended squads. Yours is quite a big one. On first look, who are the definite ins for you, Pom, for Carlton?
I would be flabbergasted if Zach Williams and Jesus, I think they were named on the field, weren't they, as well, from memory? So I think they're definitely playing, but I think we can all expect Jack to come back. He's very much needed, very important to our backline as well, quite surprisingly this year. He's really opened up the world for Jacob Wheater on that extended.
What's been the change? Like, what's because I never would have had him in your far out. If he goes out, Carlton look, you know, a bit weary. I never would have thought that he would be that player. What has clicked for him? What has changed? Is it a role change? Is it just an attitude change? Has he just grown up?
I think the big thing is we've tried so many people to partner Jacob as he's developed. Mitch McGovern did it quite a bit last year. We had Lewis Young, which was a disaster at times. For some reason, they didn't quite click together. The wonderful thing about Jack is Carlton fans love a star. We really do like white hopes. We love to pin our hopes on the flashy player. But if you look at proper football sides, 20 of them are job doers. And Jack Silvani is probably the ultimate job doer. He does his job. No frills. He's you know, the Audi biscuits. He's Audi biscuits. They're not as expensive as McVitie's, but they taste just as good. They do the job. And I think that's the great thing about Jack. He's got a football brain. So I suspect, like my good friend Joe, another guy that makes me love Essendon as well, has correctly said, I think he'll go on Nate Caddy. And I'm glad to see him back. For some reason, he is a bit like his dad in a way. A backline looks a little bit better with a Silvani. Yeah,
absolutely it does. Yeah, I never would have thought, given his first start to his career, watching him, and this is not a thing, but the whole Zach Merritt, like tapping him with one hand and him breaking ribs moment, all of a sudden put into my head, like, not that he's weak or anything, but that has framed him in my head forever. And then now this year and last year, he's reformed my opinion of him. So good on him for doing that. Not that it matters what I think of him, but he probably has earned a lot of respect from the wider AFL community.
He's done very well, and long may it continue. So I'm looking forward to. I think in these games you need someone that knows the gravitas of the game. And Jack personifies everything about Carlton, doesn't he? I mean, that guy spreads pesto on a ciabatta roll.
Guys, this is what we're going to get from Pommy. We're going to get these metaphors and similes, and this is what we are here for. Do not leave. More food-related content and who knows what else coming your way. Okay, so Sauce, we know, is definitely in. Zach Williams, is he still in the forward line? Is that where he's going to be played? Okay.
The problem with Carlton is we keep drafting and recruiting small forwards. And we've got a halfback flanker who recruited as a midfielder, who's now a forward pocket. Such is the life of a Carlton fan. But yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, Zach Williams is probably our best pound for pound small forward. So definitely need him. If you've watched any Carlton games, I feel sorry for you this year because it hasn't been great viewing and I love them, but he definitely is the guy that can make something out of nothing. He is very, very good when he's on. Can be guilty of going Casper the Friendly Ghost at times, but definitely our forward line needs someone that can make something out of nothing, and Zach Williams is that man.
Okay. Now, the word on Cincotta that I was getting from Carlton fans all week is that no way he's coming in. And then I think it was Terry who posted a photo of him from the gym, and he was looking like Thor, let's be honest, absolutely fit as a fiddle. And I thought, I wonder if he could play. I mean, not that that's a reflection of how you are fit, in terms of match fit, but do you think they bring him in?
Who, Zach Williams?
No, Cincotta.
Pom Cotter. We can talk about Pom Cotter.
Pom Cotter, yes.
good friend of the Pommy and Oz channel. And
Yes, you had the Pom Cotter watch, didn't you, in the VFL?
we do, yes. Obviously, this channel is very excited about us unleashing the Pom Cotter. Should he play? It'd be an interesting one because the one thing that we have lacked in the last 6 weeks is an ability to stop a player. We've been beaten really by what you know. Whitfield and Toby Green took the piss the week before. The week prior to that, the only 2 good players at Sydney took the piss, Heaney and Chad Warner. So we haven't really had a guy that can stop someone. And there is a saying with both of our clubs, stop Cripps, stop Carlton, stop Merritt, stop Essendon.
Yes.
He's probably the best stopper we've got. Is he going to play? We don't know. Carlton have teased. Our club are very good. Instagram posts give you a good indication. So based on history, Cincotta will play. And Orazio Fantasia spent an hour on Wednesday making his dream Subway. So he could be in as well because that was just so random.
Wow.
He might be in as well. But you'd imagine...
So he's not injured? No offense, but he's not injured at the moment?
Well, I mean, he made one of the worst Subways I've ever seen. So I don't know if he's fully well, but he does look fit. So Orazio, you'd imagine is Orazio or Jesse Motlop playing because they play the same role. Voss has got this obsession with turning a small forward into a midfielder. We've put a half back in the forward line. He's got an obsession with that. So you'd imagine it's one of them. And if Cincotta plays, you'd imagine he's there to stop one of your marauders, Martin or Merritt.
So my question to you, Pom, on Cincotta. So naturally, you'd think Cincotta has a job on Merritt because, as you say, no Merritt, no Essendon. Used to be that. The wheel is slowly turning for us in that space. But Merritt, A, has been spending more time in the back line because we actually need it at the moment, and B, for the hope of, for the bigger picture of our midfield, giving a lot more airtime to Coulters and Setters and Durham to see that they can cope without Merritt in there. So question to you is Cincotta the kind of player who they'll send to Merritt and say, you just follow him wherever he goes, forward half, back half, midfield, wing, and you just stop his addition to the team in whatever position he plays? Or is Cincotta going to be sent to a midfield player like a Caldwell or a Durham and Parrish, who I definitely know will be coming for us to stop their ascendancy in the midfield specifically?
Well, Voss, when he has played, Alex, does like moving him around, which I'm not a big fan of. One thing that's wonderful with Alex and why he endears himself to my channel is the bloke will play anywhere, and he's one of the few taggers in the game that can impact as well. So I find it really fascinating. I was watching the Brisbane game that you guys played, and I was watching this with real intrigue because I was like, okay, let's see what they're doing. And one thing I thought with Zach Merritt, and it really impressed me, is even though he went down to half back, because you had that moment where you moved him to half forward to take him away from the tag a couple of weeks ago, which worked really well. And then I saw, okay, he's gone behind the ball. I was very impressed with the output of your midfield when he went, because you battered Brisbane around stoppage. It was like 50 points to 15. And Brisbane are a stoppage-heavy side, a bit like my Blues. We like working around the stoppage. It was the turnover game that killed you. But I can see Alex, if he does play in the midfield, up the forward line, if he has to go to the back line, I'd imagine he will wear one of your players like a glove and will take a chance with Nick Martin.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, at the moment, Nick Martin is probably having more of the dangerous impact on the game and affecting score and goals more. So I think he's probably going to be the one you lock down on a bit more.
The great man Scooter, I was on his podcast earlier this week, and I hope he didn't get stick for it, but he said Nick Martin was your Nick Dacos, which I know people will go crazy and be like, they're nowhere near the same. But
read into that.
Yeah, I understood what he meant. He's your point of difference. And Nick Martin is definitely someone that the Carlton will have to keep an eye on. We've done it a few times this year where we've negated the guy that you think is going to kill you. But good teams get out of that no Merritt, no no Essendon, no Cripps, no Carlton. Good teams
Yep.
spread the load. And I think your midfield, with all due respect, is very tasty. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Absolutely. I said at the start of the fan cams after the Brisbane game, the fact that Merritt was in our bottom 10 players on the ground is a great thing for us because he has been carrying the load and it's not sustainable and it doesn't do him any good by being the Brownlow favourite. Who cares? He doesn't care if he's Brownlow favourite. He wants team success. He wants a premiership. So the fact that the coaches have not, we could have won that game maybe if we moved him in the middle in the last quarter. Maybe we could have won if he'd got down and dirty in the middle. But instead, they say, well, this is a tight game. What an opportunity for this young group, this young midfield to learn, to get some, to build some resilience. And he didn't cave under the pressure to do that because supporters were calling it, commentators are saying, oh, he's still in the back line. But I saw the bigger picture in that move. And, I think. Do you think at the moment that Patrick Cripps still wears that banner? As in, do you think if he's down, you are generally down? Is he the barometer still?
I feel like Cripps has evolved, and I feel like the press have been very harsh on Cripps. Like, look, we saw what we did to Chris Judd. We worked Chris Judd into the ground. We worked Mark Murphy into the ground. God bless him. We have a habit of having that great white hope and almost milking them to the point that we can't even sell them for beef anymore. It's like that we literally milk the life out of them. So I think Cripps has evolved, and I still think Cripps is a dangerous player. No doubt Brad Scott has juiced the team on what Patrick Cripps is capable of, and definitely is a metronome, a barometer of our side. He's a fantastic footballer, but I think the midfield, I said it at the start of the year, if we're a serious football team, we have to evolve from it being Cripps' midfield and step out of that light, and Cripps is just a cog in what is a team midfield. And I think that's what they're trying to do. But it has, I think Carlton's game plan over the last 3 years, without being harsh on the Blues, has always come down to superstars. Kerno's got to kick 8. Mackay's got to kick 8. Cripps has got to have 40. The next evolution for the Blues is we are in a situation where we're talking about Adam Chera having 35 and a goal and Cripps having 12 touches, and he had a siesta in the third quarter. That's the dream. So I'm looking forward to it. And I think Merritt's doing that. I think, what's very interesting when I look at Essendon is I always look at ways to beat you. You're one of the worst sides at going from the back half of the ground to the inside 50. Only Eagles and North are worse than you. Your defensive half scores one of the lowest in the competition. So it makes sense in today's game that you take your main guy and put him at half-back, because we've seen Collingwood do it. Nick Dacos left, went into the midfield. They flirted Pendlebury, Josh Dacos. Now they've brought Dan Houston. They identified that hole. I think this is going to serve you well in the long term, because you've trialed Dylan Shield, but it hasn't worked. You've definitely identified it. And if you can get that back half game going, I think your midfield is stacked up against Brisbane. They're one of the best in the league. So
absolutely. You know what? It really annoys me. Oh, sorry, Pom.
Oh, so it proves you don't need Merritt.
Yes, in the midfield. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. You know what really upsets me is that I would have just loved to see a full back line against this Carlton team to really test us, to see where we're at. I would have loved to have, even two of Mackay, Reid and Ridley, just to see how we're tracking, and matching up against a really, really, what can be a really dominant forward line in terms of Curnow and Mackay.
Well, I'm glad they're not there, because Carlton, I've said what you're bad at. We're the worst side inside 50 in the league by...
I don't know how there's a team worse than us, but then there's Carlton.
Yeah, by a long way. And then if you also add into the fact that the Blues produce, they're the bottom 5 marking side inside 50 with all that talent. But then you look at Carlton. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been asking these questions all year. And then you see Carlton a top 10 at generating inside 50s. It genuinely scares me that it is kind of a wonderful thing. You've got a weakened backline. You've got a
Yeah.
weakened back line. Carlton's forward line is dysfunctioning. You need to score from the back half of the ground. We need to score from the front of that half of the ground. Something has got to give in this game because I do feel the midfields will negate each other and will have a pretty good pound for pound battle. It's really ironing out both of our things that are holding us back, and ultimately that'll win us the game.
Yeah, that's such a good point. There's just two puzzle pieces at the moment missing in both, very glaringly missing puzzle pieces. And I think you'll find the missing piece because you'll take advantage of our very sparing backline. But I will say, if we had Reid and Mackay, or Reid and Ridley, or Mackay and Ridley, I would have maybe tipped and been absolutely confident after our game against Brisbane, because for the first time we saw a system that looked like it could really hold up against a quality side. And you know what? It would have given me a lot of confidence going into Carlton. So, hi, Matt. How are you going? Matty Lang, thank you for being here. Jay Beggars. Jordan Russell is our forward coach. Enough said. Long bomb banter. Oh, yes. The long bomb. I mean... Well, but here's the devil's advocate. Isn't a long bomb okay when you've got Twin Towers down there? Big marking forwards?
Look, I'm English. If the long bomb is 1945 in Munich, I'm all for it. Do you know what I mean? And we'll end the war. Yeah. But in reality, you look at the modern day sides, you've only got to watch Collingwood, you've got to watch Adelaide. They've got 3 dangerous toes. And it's that extra kick. I feel the problem we've got is Jordan Russell and Voss are looking at quantity over quality. They're like, get it in there as many times, eventually the damn wall breaks. The problem is you look at Carlton from probably midfield to forward, we're very slow. We don't move the ball quickly. So that allows you to set a zone. And people laugh. I remember this time last year playing you guys, and I do a Carlton team selection show. And one of my panelists said, oh, they've got Jaden Laverde. He's going to go up against Harry Mackay. Harry Mackay will kick 12 on him. And I was like, Laverde, I think, grossly underrated because I don't think he's a good kick. I don't think he's very good in the air. But what he does do...
He's very prone to a mental lapse or 10.
Brain fart. But
full of heart, effort 100%.
But what I do see with Laverde is if you give him a job, he will follow him. And I remember Harry Mackay versus Laverde last time. He kicked 1 goal, Harry did. And I am pretty sure that when Harry Mackay went for a piss at half-time, Laverde was next to him holding his hand. he literally wore him. So that is what happens with Carlton. If you slow us down, you can set your zones. And that's where we struggle because I don't think Carlton have, at this moment in time on the list, a half-forward that can think his way around this because his literal default status is punt the thing as high and long as we can onto the goal square, and hopefully one of these 2 behemoths takes a mark. So that's what Carlton have got to do. Make sure that we use that outside run, get that extra kick, do what Brisbane did, catch you when you're vulnerable when you're trying to score goals. Because what Carlton will do that Brisbane didn't is we don't go kick, 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 kick. We go kick, wait. Long bomb.
Yeah. And you condense the ground instead of the spread that is modern football, the 45-degree angle, the spread, the run and carry. For some reason, you guys make it smaller, relying on very good skill based. And both Carlton and Essendon are in the bottom 5, I think bottom 10 for turnovers. So neither of us can be relying on skill right now.
Yeah, one of my favourite stats is Carlton are the worst field kicking side in the league, and it's actually double to the worst. And we are the only team that features in that bottom 10 stat that features in the top 5 of kicking more than your handball. So there is a couple of sides that you see that struggle there, but they've got like Dogs are a fascinating side. They are ranked in the lower half, but they kick less than any other side in the league other than Gold Coast and yourselves. You're a very handball-heavy side. That's logic. That's logic. Like, you can't kick, we'll handball it. So what Voss does is he commits men behind the ball. So you'll see Jesse Motlop, Corey Durden quite often in defensive transition. They actually play where the wings are, and our wings nip back to where the halfbacks are. And we really condense the ground. Now, that's good defensively. The problem is if you're not quick, and like Moby says, chaos ball works when the forwards stay down and bring the pressure. Exactly. Our forwards aren't there to create the pressure if we move the ball too quickly. So we're caught in a rock and a hard place. We go slow to get them up there. But by the time we've got our forwards up there, you've managed to double up on Charlie and Harry.
Yes.
And you kill the game that way. So that's going to be a real intriguing thing. Voss reckons he's worked very hard. In two breaths, Voss said we've shifted the plan, but he's also talked about being in Fiji on his sunbed, which does worry me because 2 weeks ago he told me he had a plan for Toby Green, and Toby Green kicked 4. And the week before he said he had a plan. He had a plan for Chad Warner, and Chad Warner had a career best game. So I'm not too sure what to believe, but that's going to be an element for the Blues to really bring that pressure, because our forward pressure has been non-existent this year.
Yeah, actually, Moby, how are you going, Moby? He brings up a good point. Wet night, 2 turnover teams, can't find targets. I mean, if that is not a recipe for disaster, what are we going to see? Is this just going to be the scrappiest, who can be shittest type of game? Because I think there's a bit of rain forecast as well for Sunday. Who's this going to advantage?
I think it's always a tough one, isn't it? Because I think Essendon and Carlton are in the same boat. When they play well, it looks all right.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of your team. I watch every game, and I watch, unfortunately, a lot of my team at times. We're probably too much Carlton at times. Yeah. But one thing that's lacking from us is a little bit of fight, I'm not concerned about this game, because I mean this with all due respect, but I judge my team as a top 4 team. That's what our CEO said at the start of the year. So no offense to Essendon, you guys are openly in a rebuild. This is a game you can almost look past as you should be coming in and winning this game. One thing that concerns me, though, is the desire in tight games. And when I watch Essendon, even against Brisbane, you were fighting till the death. You were overawed, but you were fighting to the death. And that's the thing I don't see in my Blues at the minute. They don't seem to have that hunger, that hitting the uncontested player, that doubling up, that winning the ground ball, getting your head over the ball. So it's a real catch-22, this game for the Blues, because I think this is the easiest team talk in the world for Brad Scott. I'd love to be Brad Scott this week and go, these dickheads here think they're a top 4 side. We can ruin their season. One more loss and Carlton don't make the 8. Let's be that team. Let's be that team. Let's get one up on these dickheads. And I think it's a very easy team talk.
Yeah, I will say this, and I said this to Terry, one thing that we have not had at Essendon for 20 years is a mental resilience. And I'm absolutely starting to see that build now. When we're on the ropes, we are generally, and a lot has got to do with, having a lot of kids, exuberant kids in the team who then motivate and inspire the more experienced players. But I do think Brad Scott has challenged them and implored them to, when you're so fatigued, can you go again? When you are like losing breath, are you going to give up on a contest? And I just think that mental lessons, they're really working on that at the club and translating that it's translating into games now. There is no way in the world a team in the last 20 years 10 years maybe, would have been 32 points down against the reigning premiers at the Gabba in, light rain, would have come back to be a point in front. No way in hell. And a team decimated by injuries. So that tells me that the resilience is building, not just against the sides we should have great resilience against, but also when the times, it is getting tough against good opposition. So I will say I'm confident of that, only that part. I'm confident that they'll bring the effort, and I'm confident that they'll bring, a never give up type of attitude. Carlton, that's the one thing that we can pip you on, is that mental fragility, mental resilience.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a lot to be proud of. If I was an Essendon fan, there's a lot to be proud of. You've got young Archie Roberts, one of my boys in the draft, and how you're using him, letting him stay uncontested, letting him kick. He's been a bit hit and miss with his kicking, it has to be said, compared to Mr. 90% as he was in the draft. He was hitting targets with his eyes closed. But you can see as that confidence grows, he's going to be one hell of a player. Gus Clark playing out wide. He's a little pocket rocket. And you can see the identity. What I like about Brad Scott, and I'm quite an open Carlton fan. I don't use the rivalry to put you down. I'd never do that. I love football more than I love Carlton. But you can see the identity of Essendon coming through. You've got like Gus Clark working hard 2 ways, never say die. Some of them chases he did against Brisbane. A lesser man would have given up, but he gut run. There's a real core of that Essendon team. And I think this injury is showcasing who you are. Like, it would be easy at this moment in time to roll over and die, and you'd get the sympathy. Young team, injured, poor Brad Scott, poor Essendon. But the truth be told right now, you are 11 games in, a win off the finals. You're miles away from the bottom. You're 2 games ahead of us in wins. And I said it on Scooter's show. If you told me at the start of the season I was 1 win off Richmond and 2 wins behind Essendon, I probably would have got on a plane and left my family and gone back to England. I'd be in a bar somewhere. So there's a lot of credit there. Like right now for the Blues, this is huge for the Blues. The Blues have to win this but Essendon, you can still
have nothing to lose.
You win this. No, but you win this. The F word is still there in that vocabulary. Finals.
Yeah. I mean, I think the players...
Come on, get around it.
I think the players believe it. I do. I genuinely think Brad Scott has them believing that because they look like they could win. They believe they could beat Brisbane. The fans didn't. Not one fan thought, or maybe one fan, but definitely not this fan. I did not think they could beat Brisbane at all. So they believe that they can make finals. So that's great. But they also play they look like they don't have those shackles on. Carlton look like they're playing with shackles, Pommy. They look like they're playing with the weight of the world on their shoulders. They are overthinking. They're overthinking going into the forward line. If they just went with their first gut instinct, I bet you they would hit a target and honour a lead because the leads are there most of the time.
Yeah, no, it's a great question of how does that happen. I think the wonderful thing about my Blues, and it's probably why our fans are so universally hated, is there is a real stench of arrogance that comes out of Carlton at times. You hear the 16 flags, the 1995 spiel. If I have to see Anthony Koudafidis and Ange Christou one more time, I'll probably headbutt a wall, as great as they are. And I think that brings, you actually see that crest somehow subconsciously becomes a weight of expectation. And it feels like they're not standing on the shoulders of giants. They are walking in the shadow of giants. And one thing I'll praise Essendon for is you've kind of shifted that narrative, haven't you? You've kind of shifted that narrative of that was then. Yeah. Let's build history today. And I think that's a big part of Carlton's learning, that you can sometimes focus on the football. The history will always be there, but the history becomes a real good story after a while. And I always say I hate sport teams that bring up trophies that are legally old enough to marry at the minute. Like legally it's acceptable to marry someone born in 1995.
Yeah.
Like they're 30 years old. They're old, technically. My kids would say they're old. Yeah.
Okay. Let's not say that though.
Yeah. Look, I'm 40 years old, Fiona. My kids tell me that I'm ancient. Like, do you know what I mean?
Of course I do.
No, I'm granddad now, mate. So yeah, but no, definitely. There isn't.
I mean, all right. So yes, yeah, exactly. All right. So let's tell me about this Williams, who unlikely to get picked up, to get put into the team, or what's he about? Is he forward?
Oh, Zach Williams.
Yes. No. Sorry, not Williams. Your debutante listed on the
Hudson O'Keefe.
O'Keefe.
Hudson O'Keefe is interesting. So Tom Morris, as he often does, we like a little bit of Tom Morris. He claims Harry didn't train today. So Carlton like to strike the fear of God into their fan base by just putting a big guy there. So Hudson O'Keefe, I don't think he'll play. I think Harry will literally play. I'd love Hudson O'Keefe to play, though, because a good friend of mine said that Carlton will never win a flag with TDK and Pitternet, and we haven't seen our flag-winning ruckman yet. So the only ruckman left is Hudson O'Keefe. So the prophecy will be fulfilled if he plays. But I don't.
And is he a goal-kicking ruckman, or is he just a bona fide ruck?
He's a ruck for. I'd say if you went to Temu and bought Sid Draper, you'd get Hudson O'Keefe.
Okay, gotcha. Or so if you went to Temu, you'd get Bomber Banter. If you went to Amazon, you'd get Blue Abroad. That, if we're going by the Carlton guy.
Short there. I think you're more of a Paramount Plus, Fiona.
Oh, stop.
See? I told you, comparison, it's the thief of joy.
You're right. I was just being, being self-deprecating for a second, given that the comment stung me, and I'm feeling a bit tired today. So, when you're feeling a bit vulnerable and you see that comment and it's just like, I've just given my heart, I've just done this show and you see that comment by a man and I thought, oh, that's just yuck. Like, anyway, moving on.
Fiona, if they don't pay your bills and they're not oxygen, they're not worthy of your time, my friend.
But you know what, Pom? Look what just came in from Kylie to counteract all of that toxicity from that man.
Carlton fans out there, I promise you.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for being here, Kylie. I appreciate this comment and I appreciate you being here. You're welcome anytime. I really, really appreciate, I know I just said that, but we were just talking about a few Carlton doubters and meanies. So thank you for counteracting that. Kylie, and thank you for being here.
You've got some great Pommy and Oz royalty as well. You've got Petra, Langy, Kylie. You've got them all in here.
Langy has been. Yes, Jay Baggers is first time here. I'm absolutely loving having him here. Langers has definitely been here before. Petra, again, love having you here. You're right, Moby, not in the arena. Absolutely. Let's go with that. All right, let's move on to Essendon's ins. McMahon. So as soon as they flew Liam up to Brisbane on Friday last week to play in the VFL up there, and he had a couple of quarters in the back line, I thought, oh, that's Essendon just getting him in and just saying, all right, look, we're just going to give you a job. You don't have to be all up with our system and our intricacies of, your teammates, but you're going to play. Who would he play on? If we brought him in the back line, is he a better matchup for Curnow or Mackay?
Probably Charlie Curnow. Not a lot of people know this about Mr. McMahon, but Mr. McMahon did start life as a key defender. He did.
Did he really?
Back in his day, converted to a key forward when he got picked up by Collingwood Football Club and has gone on strength to strength. Look, there is a clip out of me saying that in the mid-season draft saying I can't wait for Essendon to pick him up. And he played for Essendon and kicked 4 goals. Can't wait for that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this in. But one thing I can say about Liam is no one works as hard as Liam. I've got to say, an incredible character in that VFL. The development of our own Harry Lemmy since working alongside Liam McMahon like 2 years ago, I thought Harry Lemmy was lucky to even be considered a human being, let alone a key forward. And in the 2 years he's come in and he's really, really developed. And so
underestimated that. That is so underestimated. People would just see that as...
And he knows the dark arts. If you watch Liam play, he does all that dirty stuff, nips people under the armpits, gets the body contact early. He's a terrific leader of the ball, very good aerially. I will say this, I think Liam McMahon has reached his ceiling. I don't think Liam McMahon will get any better, and his level is probably average AFL key forward, which I think is perfect for where you are, because if anyone gets better than him, that's a huge dub. Do I think he'll play him back? I'd be very surprised for him to start his career down back. I think he might use him as a swingman. So I thought how you used him in the VFL, maybe his future. One thing people don't talk about Liam McMahon, though, is he's a beautiful field kicker of the football.
Okay.
He really kicked the ball nicely. So
that's a nice quality to have at halfback, at fullback or in the back line.
Yeah, and like Moby says, I mean, like Jesus, if he was in Harry Potter, he'd be the head of Slytherin, wouldn't he? He is.
He wouldn't be.
Like Jesus, he's done all three forbidden things, hasn't he?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. The thing that stood out for me in all these highlights was his just incredibly beautiful symphony-like vertical leap. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I mean, it's not out of the realm that if he's feeling more comfortable forward, that they could maybe push Peter Wright a bit further in the back line, not only just when he's doing the ruck work, given that Peter's pretty good to just fill a gap and fill a hole. So if for example, if Redmond has to directly line up against Curnow, and we're a bit shaky down there, it's not out of the realm that we could send 2 meter Peter back there just to plug a hole and be a loose man back there with a bit of height. Because he is capable of marking. He reads the ball really well and, can just give us a bit of help back there. So that's if Liam McMahon, if they thought, look, I think it's best for this kid to just stay where he's comfortable in the forward line and we can use 2 meter back there.
Yeah, and there's a few footages of Liam McMahon in pouring rain clanging a mark as well. So he's pretty good in the wet, is old Liam. I mean, people forget he's 198. So, I mean, what's that? What's that Brilliant. In proper measurements in Imperial? That's what, 6'6"?
I have no idea. I'm not the person to ask.
Who uses centimeters, man? Do you know what I mean?
The only metric I know, metric I know this week, Pom, is we have 19.85 meters on our injury list.
Like 12 inches sounds way more impressive than 30 centimeters, doesn't it? I'll always say. But back to McMahon, he's very good. He's very good. So I think, though, what you're saying about Peter Wright is very astute of you there, Fiona. So teams have actually found a way to stop Wheatering. And we saw, I can't believe I'm going to say this as a word, but Joe Hamlin actually have a career legacy game at full forward by pulling. This. Yeah, well, what teams do is they've isolated Wheatering away from his help. Now, this has worked without Jack. So I can see Peter Wright staying in that goal square and forcing Jacob back. And what that does is it creates separation from his help. And we found Carlton have been chaos. So that's where I'd be worried if you played Liam McMahon, because Nate Caddy loves working from that third position. He's a very weird key forward, is Nate Caddy, but he leads from the pocket. Bit like Brody Myercheck, very similar to that. And that's what causes Carlton chaos. Because if you can run between that Haynes-McGovern zone, for some reason, Carlton hit the panic button. So I'm going to be really, really intrigued to see how that works.
And we actually have another little weapon who nobody would have on their watch list at all. And in fact, probably wouldn't get a game anywhere else. But we have a plan. We will have a plan for McGovern or Haynes in the form of Matt Guelphy, who would not measure high on anybody's radar, except for the fact that when he's given a job, he can play such a defensive forward role that you mentioned Lockie Whitfield getting off the train. When we played GWS last year and won, Matt Guelphy shutting down Lockie Whitfield, starting the chain, starting the run, using the ball beautifully out of the back line. That's Matt Guelphy. He absolutely curtailed Dane Zorko last week. Dane Zorko started no transition from the back line. He did a great job on Jeremy McGovern, keeping him accountable, keeping him busy, keeping him, not able to just read the ball and support the rest of the defenders. So we will have a plan, probably I reckon he'll start on McGovern, and then if it looks like Haynes is getting off the leash, he might switch. But they're not going to have their way.
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of Guelphy. You say he wouldn't play anywhere.
I don't
I
think
like
he
the
will.
12 dog. I admire a man that plays like someone owes him money but bleaches his hair. Like, if I had to define toughness, that would be what I envision. I do like Guelphy. He's a pain in the ass. He's similar to our Chincotta, really. That he's probably not glitz and glamour, and he's probably not a name you'd worry about. But you do know when you've played on Guelphy, he'll make you earn every touch, and he's a little bit of a wasn't that? Oh, screw it. He's a bit of a twat, and I feel
He's a
like
pest.
every team needs a twat in their
Yeah,
side.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's going to be a great match. Who do you think he'll play on? Who would you
I think he'll start on. I think he'll start on McGovern just, and then if, as I said, if Haynes looks like he's getting off the leash, they might switch him if he's having too much of an impact. But I will say with Guelphy, if he didn't develop this ability to reinvent himself and be able to do these shutdown roles, then you may as well put him on the truck on the delisting truck, because he wasn't that prolific small forward type where he doesn't have he's not super mobile where he can run and pressure and like Kako does ping pong off pressuring defenders, and he's not super duper quick. So he didn't have a lot of small forward attributes, but all of a sudden they've Kylie and his good eye candy. That he is. The one thing he is very good at is posting all the modeling on Instagram. He does that very well, very well. Kylie, you're right. And I was ready to back up the truck. I'm not going to say, but then he did the job on Lockie Whitfield, and I was so impressed. I thought you have to be so locked in and so committed, and then he also can snap a few goals or two of his own because the defenders don't pay him any respect. And so I thought, if you're going to play like that and you're going to shut down a really, really dangerous small, medium defender, then you have a spot in my team.
No, I agree. And, if you watch Carlton play, I'd say my biggest umbrage is how we move the ball. And Mitch McGovern is definitely a player. And that's why I find it fascinating that you're saying Guelphy goes on there, is when he's in a little bit of trouble, Mitch, and he doesn't have it easy, he is number one offensive for kicking the ball high, long, down the wing. He loves that. And that is literally where you're going to be. You want to get that forward pressure. You want to get Carlton panicking, not building it up, closing that corridor off, making them go long and wide. And that's why I will find it interesting I would say if you start the game with Liam McMahon plays, I think if Essendon start the game with Liam McMahon going down the back to negate Harry, I think that's game over. I think Carlton win that game.
Right. Wow.
Will win that because you are setting up too defensive. You want to be able to really hurt Carlton on the counter. And I would say from watching Carlton so long, them free tall systems when you play us, whether it's tall or wet, we struggle. And Harry will have a tendency when we're playing bad to bypass the forward line and we'll almost play up the wing. We'll play high up the ground. He's our outlet ball. And once that happens, you've got Carlton where you want us. So it would be interesting to see it because I think Carlton would love you to go tall down back and us play and have less threat in the forward half. But Carlton are very reactive. If you take a couple of marks inside 50, we'll make them switches very quickly. And that's probably where we've fallen off, particularly in the last 5 weeks.
Interesting. All right. On a separate note, you will see this little function now where officially I have hit the ability for you guys to add little donations, buy little, what are they called, Pom? Super sticker things, and leave little thank you donations.
Super chats.
Super chat, super stickers. I don't know. I just clicked the accept button. Didn't read the terms and conditions. Sorry to my accountant. But I officially hit that point. Thank you so much, G Pat. Is that you? Who's that? That's not you, Pom?
I don't know how you've got Pom from G Pat.
Well, because you've got G on how you've appeared up here. Anyway, 2 once great clubs now contesting the Al Mid Eco. Anyway, thank you, GPAT, whoever you are. You are the first donator to Bomber Banter. You will be remembered forever in my heart and my mind. Thank you. For the rest of you, you will now see, I don't see it here, but I believe it comes up as a little, what's the icon? In the comments, there's a little, is it a dollar sign or something?
Yeah, it's dollar sign.
Okay. So you can click on that. I feel very, very icky having this conversation, and that's why I didn't bring it up. But
you've had another one from the great man as well.
Have I really? Okay. Who is the great man? Oh, Moby, you are an OG, my friend. This makes me so happy. As I said, it makes me feel icky talking about this because I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm worthy, and I don't. It's just any kind of validation feels for me, even though I believe in myself. But so if you want to contribute in any way, as Pom knows, as all content creators know, we need help to do this, and this takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And yes, we do it for the love, but we also need help to continue to bring quality and things you actually want to see. So this not only works as a motivation for me, but also helps me put food on my table if I have to spend an extra few hours not doing stuff that's going to make me money, and this stuff for you guys. So it is anything. It doesn't have to be a lot, but any contribution at any time is so appreciated and very much valued. So thank you, Moby. Thank you, GPAT. You can do it on the lives. You can do it on the recordings, however and whenever. That's the last thing I'll say on that, but I am grateful for all of you, and I'm grateful for you all being here and contributing in any way. So, all right, enough on that self-flagellation. Last one we'll talk about, Parish. Now, he will definitely come in, Pom. It means that I know you talk a lot about Sardis, but this inevitably means that he is most likely going to be dropped. Where do you see Parish as a Carlton supporter, as a supporter, if we have any other supporters in the team? Please tell me, how do you view Parish? Do you see him as a weapon, or do you see him done?
After my scouting report of watching your Brisbane game and going, Jesus, these guys can really handle themselves around stoppage, to find out that you've got Mr. Ball winner, Mr. Dynamic himself just happens to be ready for this game, in a game that is definitely going to be about which team can spread the ball quicker out of the corridor. I was really happy about seeing this guy's name in it. Darcy Parish is a class act. When he's on form, he's a very, very good player. I find that Essendon have got the inverse of Carlton. If you play one good game in the midfield for Carlton, SEN will write a newspaper article saying you're the second coming of Christ. You can play 3 good years for a bottom 4 Essendon side and everyone says you're overrated. Darcy Parish is, if he played for any other side, like you look at how people glaze Lockie Whitfield, who's got literally one move, the big long bomb from halfback and then running, and he looks like Marge Simpson's brother. Like, Parish is fantastic.
It's so random.
Have a look at Marge Simpson, then look at Lockie Whitfield. Tell me they're not related. But
okay, I actually did his wedding cake, so I have to keep it kind.
I'm sorry, you're a real good person, Lockie Whitfield. Thank you for supporting the channel's cake business. Thank you. But yeah, Darcy Parish, he's a proper footballer. He's a proper footballer. Very, very good footballer. And I mean, you've only got to look. It was only a couple of years ago he had, 40 touches against Pies, wasn't it?
Yep. My worry is that he has continually... He'll do an injury and then inevitably another part of his body will start to compensate and then he'll break down again. So instead of just being out for one injury for a certain period of time, he then gets taken out for a secondary injury. Now it looks like he's over the hump, and I just think with Merritt going to halfback and taking a little bit of that fuel out of our midfield, bringing Parish in is going to compensate for any little bit of, negative impact that would have had. So I'm really excited to see Parish back here. It does make me really, not sad, but disappointed that we're not going to see Sardis get a full game or anything like that. But
I watched his VFL game because as sad as I am, I watch the opposition's VFL as well. And one
I
thing
love
that
it. I love you, Pommy.
yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I always like to know how I'm going to be absolutely depressed the next weekend. It's always good to know, do you know what I mean? It's good to plan around to see who
That's
I'm going to
true.
bully. But when I was watching him, one thing that I noticed was he was really playing high up the ground. And I think that's a credit to Essendon. You've really got that midfield in kind of cohesive, isn't it? So I agree with Ethnic, one of the boys from Pommy. I know he's a massive fan of yours. Definitely going to be probably that threat inside 50, a little bit freer, a little bit
Yes.
Have that option, and then maybe become a rotation in
You're
that
spot
forward
on
line.
it,
Just
Ethnic.
building a
Yep.
little bit of midfield depth, Fiona. Hey,
I
yes,
can't believe. Who is this? Who are we? And you know what? It's not just depth. It's not just depth, Pommy. All of a sudden, we have variances in the types of mids we have. We have a stopper, but we have a bull who's most likely still on fire in Caldwell, who had one of the most ridiculous, impressive third quarters you will ever see from the man who never pales. He'll never be misseen for an albino. He is just tanned all year round, the most beautiful skin you'll ever see. Then we have Setterfield, who is just a tough, no muss, no fuss, just get it done. You watch him; he's become this calming influence under pressure. I never would have thought he was a calm under pressure type player, but he has become that. So it just shows that he's evolved and matured in his leadership as well. And then we've got Durham, who's just a see ball, get ball bull, who his acceleration from a stoppage is elite. Absolutely elite in the midfield or the forward line. So not only do we have depth in the midfield, but we're starting to string together a midfield that all bring a different set of skills and dangerous elements.
I couldn't agree more. And while you've been talking, you've had a plethora of super stickers.
Have I? Oh my gosh! All right, sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt you because
hey, look at this. Like you say, like look at this. Good to see,
Maddie Lang, thank you, Maddie. You know I absolutely adore you. You've come from Pommy, and I appreciate that. Chris, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I am going to say this because everyone's going to bring it up, and because I really enjoy you and love having you here. I absolutely hate being called Fee. So just a little bit. I know that sounds awful, but I hate it. It's nothing against you, but I'm just FYIing you. I still love you. Kylie, you are the best. I believe your corresponding comment, I couldn't work out how to comment on, but you've just become my favorite chickie. That makes me so happy, Kylie. You are welcome here anytime, absolutely anytime. Jeremy is an OG. Thank you so much, Jeremy. And you are forever always reminding me to tell people to subscribe and like. So you are one of my favorite cheerleaders. Thank you. Bomber Boy, Parish, think it's too soon to bring him back. Okay, what's he had? He's had 2 VFL games, which would have been 3 had we not had the VFL bye. I think we're a bit scarred. I think we're just a bit scarred, Pommy. So we get a bit cautious and we get a bit like, if we bring players back.
I'll be totally honest. As much as I love Darcy Parish this weekend, I hope it's too soon. I hope he's packing after the first quarter and he's having a nap at half time, to be honest.
Thank you for that. Petra, you are another wonderful Carlton supporter. Thank you so much. I value you. I appreciate you. You're welcome here anytime. My gosh, at the starting this channel, Carlton supporters were one of the fan bases that trolled me most. But you have all tonight just absolutely redirected my opinion of Carlton supporters. So thank you.
Carlton,
we
sure
also have
a fan base hated English people and Carlton people, but like you see, we're all right. We're human too.
True, right, very true. Who's this? Do we know who Carlton Blazing Blues is?
I don't. Westerfield, that's quality.
What does that mean?
I think they're just taking a little bit of the piss out of Setterfield. He used to be colloquially named on our lives. There was a guy. There was a guy at Carlton who gives nicknames to Carlton players. And Will Setterfield for a long time was called Will Shitterfield. And because I'm 2 years old mentally, it used to pop up on the screen and it would always make me giggle for some reason. Some reason. But yeah,
but what does this? I don't understand what this means. How is this a diss on him? What does this mean? I'm a bit slow.
Do you know what I mean? Well, I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm guessing it's some kind of bit of a slur.
Okay, explain yourself. Carlton Blazing Blues, explain yourself. We like to be in on the jokes. I mean, so long as they're not too nasty, it's okay to have opinions.
He might be referencing a town in England. There is there's a place Westerfield in Suffolk, but
okay. Mick, amazing. Thank you. You are a Collingwood supporter, so we have a Collingwood friend here, and he's a big fan of yours. Oh, yes, it's true. My friend, the solution, Windy Hill. Pommy, you're giving Carlton fans a good name, and we don't like it. You are certainly you and Terry and the Carlton, Maddie Lang was the first Carlton visitor in my chats, and so you've all changed my opinion of the Carlton people. So amazing. All right, Pommy, I guess we'll see how we go. I think that's pretty much it for the changes. What are your I'll get a score prediction from you. No. I know you love your tipping. How are you going in your tipping comp?
Not very good.
No?
Oh, mate, honestly, I am the consummate overthinker, to be fair. Okay. Honestly, your best bet is whatever I tip, do the opposite, and it'll go your way. Oh, gosh. Carlton, Essendon at the G, a little bit of wet. Carlton by 27.
Okay. Carlton by 27. I think you're being a little bit generous, in my opinion.
Oh, no.
I think it'll be... Oh, yeah. I think I tipped Carlton by 60, I think, on my previous show, on my forecast. But I think we'll have a tougher game this week because of your Twin Towers. And the question that I should have really asked you is, how do we get TDK to just have a little bit of empathy for a 61-year-old Todd Goldstein?
Todd Oldstein, he's just his age, isn't he? I mean, to be fair, TDK, my big reservation with TDK all last year is the same as it is this year. If I put him against an athletic, if this was Sam Draper, I would be sat here going, brilliant. He'll batter Sam Draper. He'll have because he likes the athletic, fast, quick, mobile ruckman. But when he comes up against these wily old guys who are big and physical, he seemed it's almost like he's a teenager again. And he's proving his masculinity. So I do worry about this game. You only have to watch Kieran Briggs versus him. Kieran Briggs got him into a wrestling match, and TDK forgot he could move. So Todd Goldstein is the master of the dark arts, isn't he? In the ruck, you watch him. He knows when to lean on you, when to put the weight on you. You watch him around stoppage. He's a real annoyance. He seems to put just enough hands on you. That's not a free kick, but enough to stop you getting there. So this is a big test for TDK. This is where TDK now, he's at the stage of his career where he should be saying to Todd Goldstein, mate, you're 38. Time to retire, mate. This is a young man's game. And that's what he's got to do. He wants to play the TDK way.
Yep.
I'll be worried if he falls into the trap. A bit like Oscar McInerney did against Todd Goldstein. He fell into the trap.
McInerney didn't play.
No, sorry, McInerney. Who's the other guy? Massive.
The beard and the curly hair.
Darcy Fort. Darcy Fort's like Audi TDK. Like, he's the Audi TDK. And he fell into that trap very early in about the second quarter of not going around the ground and dragging Todd and being more worried about what Todd does.
It's more his agility that worries me. TDK, if he becomes an extra midfielder for you guys, old Toddy.
No, that's the problem. TDK doesn't go to the mobile method. He seems to want to get into this wrestle, and I'll stand toe to toe. He did with Kieran Briggs, and that second half might be the worst game you've ever seen a ruckman play against Kieran Briggs, because Kieran Briggs, I debate if he's from Earth or from Mars. Like, the guy's 9 foot, 100 kgs. Looks like if he wasn't a footballer, he'd be opening door for the Adams family. But in the second half, TDK just forgot he could move. So this is
ridiculous.
A real big one.
Yeah, it's
do you think
because TDK hasn't quite reached the heights that everyone expected him to. Do you think this trade contract issue is playing a big part in it? His performance?
Probably asking the wrong person, to be honest. I mean, like, how distracting is 1.7 million? Do you know what I mean? Like, how distracting is that?
I mean, very.
Is it? Like, he's a professional footballer. Like, he's already made his mind up. In his mind, he's already made his mind up. Surely.
But I think subconsciously, if he's made his mind up to take 1.7 million, there's a subconscious part of his brain that's feeling like he's an imposter and he shouldn't be out there. And so, and then that's affecting him.
The only thing that potentially could be going through his head is the only way that I don't become a billionaire at the end of this year is if I get injured. So if that's the case, he shouldn't be playing. But I have a rule: if you cross that white line, your dog dying that morning is irrelevant. As soon as you cross that line, you're telling me I am okay for the next 2 hours. So that's for TDK to take up. But in my opinion, TDK has to. We've put a lot of money in him, and I have no issue with him going 1.7 million. I'm not stupid. I say to everyone when people say, "What about loyalty, Pom? What about loyalty?" I'm like, if my boss said, "Oh, we've had an offer from over the road, they're going to pay you 1.7 million more," I'd give them all the finger and say that I hated them all. I'd go over there and get the 1.7 million. Like, it's a job at the end of the day. But I think TDK has to, while he's playing, give Carlton the best 12 weeks of his life should he go. And I think that's what the minimum we're owed, because we've put a lot of faith in Tom. And I don't begrudge him going. It's a career. And it's a lot of money. Like, honestly, he's mental if he stays for $1 million.
I mean, but you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? Because, again, you all... most of you in the chat who are regulars here know this about me. I am big on psychology. I love it. Philosophy, body language, analyzing. I love it. The psychology of this is he's going to go for 1.7 million, and there is going to be the commentary around it is going to be how ridiculous of St Kilda to be offering 1.7 million for a ruckman. It is ridiculous. They're fools. Blah, blah, blah. That's going to be the main commentary. I'm going to say from the media and fans, 80%, I would say, 80-20, maybe 70-30. He's going to go there having heard that external noise, and it's going to affect his performance because he's going to go out believing that, oh, my God, I have to play to a $1.7 million caliber person, and if I don't, and that pressure is going to eat him alive. So I think it would be better off for him to stay at the Blues and stay there and fight for success, because he's going to go there and the subconscious demon is going to infiltrate him. I'm going to see the future if this happens. I'm going to let's book note. I don't know. I'm going to do a mental book note of this conversation, Pom. And in 2 years, if he's at St Kilda and he's not performing, it's going to happen. I promise you it will.
I would counter it in this way, though, that with him playing for Carlton, if he stays for $1 million, the press will say, and let's say he's shit, the press will write articles saying, should Carlton have cashed in? Look at what pick 8 or pick 9 is doing. Carlton kept TDK. They've overpaid him. St Kilda have dodged a bullet. Then number 2 will be, let's just say Carlton match the offer and he becomes a super, and St Kilda start winning flags, or heaven forbid start overtaking Carlton and they spend that money elsewhere. The narrative's going to be, did he choose the wrong ship? Should have gone for the young glamorous, got more money, and look at what St Kilda are building. Carlton are the same old mediocre club that they were when he was there. So it's a fascinating thing. But like, when people talk about that money, do I like that money? Kind of I do, because when people say, oh, Essendon, they messed up with Ben Mackay, no one talks that if you didn't overpay him, you would have had to give pick 10, which would have been Nate Caddy. And Nate Caddy is your generational forward. So sometimes you've got to overpay.
But with Ben Mackay, people and opposition fans love to float around that we're paying him $800K a season or $900K, whatever it is. It is a heavily front-loaded deal. His last 3 years or 2 years of his, someone in the chat can confirm this for sure, but his last 3 years of his contract are well below what you would expect it to be. It's a heavily front-ended contract. It's just smart. It was smart by the club. That's what it was.
And if you didn't and you were forced to trade, you wouldn't have got Nate Caddy. So if you didn't overpay. So that's what people forget. And it's the same with Saints. And Sauce
Yeah,
is
but
a clever man.
1.7,
Yeah,
you're
but
paying for
Sauce is a
Harley
clever man.
Retard.
They've got to meet their minimum contract demands for the year, their
Yeah,
salary. So they
yeah,
will have heavily front-loaded that to do that. And when Sauce was at Carlton, no one ever talks
yeah.
about this. He
Mm,
met the minimum requirement by overpaying 300k footballers, 500k. So
mm.
what happened is 5 years' time, Carlton were faced with a predicament. These players were asking for a pay decrease. They were asking for a pay rise in line with the salary cap. So we had a lot of players when Sauce left, God bless him, that we had to get rid of because he'd overpaid 10 players to meet the minimum requirement, as opposed to just bagging out one big guy.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. This is an interesting question from Maddie, from Langy. At what point do the Saints pull out of the deal if he hasn't made a decision? Pommy, what do you reckon?
I don't think they will. I think the problem is with Stephen Silvani, he knows 1.7 is probably the threshold that we can't match. So if you
Yeah,
remember the Ben Mackay one, it was
yep,
such an obscure figure because it was
yep.
in the purview of where North couldn't match. And
Mm,
if they did, they'd have problems re-signing players in the next year. And you look at Carlton's salary, we've got Sam Walsh next year. So if we match 1.7, we're in
mm.
that beautiful situation where we kiss goodbye to Sam Walsh. It probably knock-on effects down the track. So
Yep,
I
okay.
don't think they'll pull out. Like genuinely,
But,
I
well, I guess
kind of
Moby says it. They've got lots to spend, but no one wants to go there. So they're just waiting until they land a fish. They're not pulling out of anything.
yeah, and unfortunately for St Kilda, they don't have the prestige. Like I think us, Essendon,
Yep.
Richmond, we've got that prestige in a way. I think everyone wants to play for them Victorian clubs. St Kilda, unfortunately, don't have that. So it is
Mm.
money, but I mean, you end of the day, they get a big fish. I can see St Kilda actually winning that deal because I think someone will overpay on Rowan Marshall. So St Kilda do worry me if they use their salary cap cleverly, which
I don't think,
Essendon
yeah, I don't know
Essendon
about
know what it's like, don't they? They know what it's like with sometimes you
exactly.
can, but
We know
you've done well. Rosas, I'm a big fan.
Rosa
Seven
since he,
nine,
yeah,
26,
Rosa since he
27
came
this year.
in.
You've got a lot of
Yeah,
picks. Great
yeah,
trade
we
with
do.
Melbourne.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Essendon are in a
We
real strong place.
Yeah, we are. And with Tassie, all being well coming in as well, it's just really astute planning. Uh, all right, Mick's got a question. Pom, at what stage do you think Carlton assess the list and say this won't win a premiership and start making big changes? That's an interesting question because it is connected to the TDK one. Do you then, just say, all right, TDK's walked. That's one. How much is he on now, Pom? How much would he be on?
It was estimated around 800k when he re-signed, so that would
Okay.
be out and have come to the table 1.1 we've offered.
Okay, so if you're offloading 1.1, do you say, okay, let's offload a Walsh, let's offload a Mackay, go to the draft, given that your draft hand is quite poor this year without doing a few little deals?
Yeah, very
And
bad.
yeah, and then with Tassie coming in at the end of next year or the year after. So would you when would you pull this lever?
Genuinely, I said it last year. I was one of the few content creators that was incredibly disheartened with how we finished the year last year, and I thought it was a concern that we limped in eighth, like we did a Bradbury for eighth. The problem is your Premiership window takes a fucking long time to open, but it slams very quickly, and when it
Yes.
slams, it's usually welded, and we've lost the spare key for the back door. So I
Yeah.
would say genuinely, if Carlton, in my opinion, if Carlton don't finish in the top 8 this year, you've got to start making hay now. And I think this draft, as someone who covers the draft very deeply,
Mm.
I think a lot of teams are going to attack this draft because even though it's compromised, there is some very strong role players early, and everyone seems to be on the trade table at the minute.
Okay.
Butters, we want to get Oscar Allen in to get picks to get this player in. I think people are going to be very active trying to make their Premiership windows stay open or open. So to
Yep.
answer his question, Mick, if we didn't finish outside of the 8, I would be going hard now. Let's try and get 3 or 4 top 20 picks in. Let's get the list now. let's do it properly. And I think that's what Essendon have done. Like, no offense, I was a big hater of Dodoro. If you've watched my draft content, I always take the piss out of Dodoro because every time he had a deal, it felt like you always did that stupid 40 for 45. It was like he had to win the deal. And I was like, why? I feel like Roses has done the very good last year of soothing over the cracks with people.
Absolutely.
So I think you're in a real good position. You've got some great NGAs coming through this year as well. I can tell you, you've got some really exciting role players. And at the minute, you're going to have 2 picks together as well. Melbourne and Essendon, it looks like you two are going to finish together. And if you know anything about the AFL trade period, for some reason, if you've got 2 picks together, AFL list managers overvalue that than anything else.
Yes.
So
I think Melbourne just has to come to the party, though. All of a sudden, they're on a run, and they've gone up the ladder, and so has our draft pick. But anyway, okay, so we've got clarification from Carlton Blazing Blues. Thank you, friend. Got the name Westerfield off another channel that we're calling Centerfield Westerfield. Not sure of the meaning. So actually, that wasn't quite clarity, but thank you for clarifying that. We really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for being here and being a lovely contributing Carlton fan. Hang on a sec. I think there are a couple more that I needed to shout out. Bomber Boy, what have you got? Goldstein is like a fine wine, gets better with age. He certainly, I will say, has surpassed my expectations of what he could produce this year. He's definitely obviously played a lot more than what we expected him to, and he's definitely held up better than what I thought. And I'm told from a little birdie that he feels as good as ever. Like, he is not limping. He is not begging for a rest. You know, sometimes maybe you pull the trigger and you say, look, Goldie, have a rest. But he is not in the physio room every 5 minutes kind of aching and paining, because he's an ultimate professional. He keeps himself so fit, so, up and about. He's diligent in his recovery, even at the ripe old age of 37. So he's going well. Thank you, Bomber Boy, for your contributions. You know how highly I think of you.
Isn't there this year?
What's that?
The over 35s in the AFL this year have been phenomenal, haven't they?
Ridiculous. Yeah. What's the secret? It's just, thank you, Dave. You know how highly I value you. You're a big contributor to Bomber Banter, so thank you. Yes, he's absolutely surpassed. I do think he'll need a rest at some point. It's just a shame that both of our rucks are out for season end, but let's hope Vigo, Essendon fans, Vigo Visentini gets a little look in. Okay, this is a nice little exercise for everybody in the chat. Who do you think, which team coming up that we have, Essendon, who do you think would be a good game? What game do you think would be a good game to debut Vigo? Pommy, if you want to look at our upcoming games and look at a team, keep in mind that he's obviously a very young bebe ruckman. What opposition ruckman would be a good introduction debut game for Vigo if we had the luxury of picking?
He's got a great first name as well. I mean, he sounds like a bad guy in Ghostbusters, but
well, the Italian in me is just loving the Vigo Visentini name. It just glides off the tongue. But chat, what do you think? I'm interested to think who you think. Pommy, what's your opinion? We obviously have Carlton, TDK. He's obviously I wouldn't bring him up against, so that's obviously a smart decision.
You know what? I'd say the round 22 game against Geelong, the second time you play him.
The second time against Geelong. Okay.
That's like well away, isn't it? Round 22, yeah. Round 22 on the fixtures.
Why do you say the second time and not next week?
Well, because generally they rotate heavily, their ruckman, and they're older players. So I reckon by that stage, they're doing silly buggers, and Conway should have a full run of games. He'll be back. He's a young ruckman as well. And they usually piss off Stanley, which I still can't believe Stanley's on that list, but he keeps going.
How is he still? And he's doing okay. I would have put him on the truck years ago.
Yeah, he just keeps working. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, I'm a firm believer, though, you want to see him go up against it. So, obviously TDK.
Oh, yep.
You've got Darcy. Probably won't
play. Moby says maybe Suns at Marvel.
Well, I mean, you go against players he's got to learn to go up against players like Wits and players like that.
True.
If you played it in a 2-ruck system as well, where they pinch it Ethan Reid, why not give him a go? Do you know what I mean? So I don't mind it. But you look at your fixtures, apart from GWS and Geelong
and Collingwood,
they've all got established ruckmen, haven't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Premier type ruckman, top ruckman that are really hard working. So
yeah.
You see, I always, when I play GWS, that's interesting because if Briggs is injured, he's probably or if Briggs is playing, it's a good time to go against him. But I always say, when people say I want them to have an easy game, make them go out there and earn it. I agree with Petra. Straighten at the deep end. Let's see where he is, because no one's expecting him to be better than Max Gawn. But if he can at least break even, that's a huge win. You know where he is.
Look, I would absolutely agree with you if Draper was able to be a second ruck as support. So if he was able to be, on the end of a Draper taking over for him, I'd say okay. But as it stands, 2 meter Peter, we're not playing 2 meter Peter, Vigo and Goldstein. So it would be 2 meter Peter as the supporting ruck. And I just don't know if that's. Yeah, but also, this is a rebuilding year. So
the Brisbane game, he went up against Zach Oleski, didn't he? Who is 19, 20. And Ty Gallop, who's debuting this week for Brisbane. He's not really learning anything by battering people his own age. It's obvious watching him. He's developed his ruckcraft enough to go up against people of his age and of his build. His next stage, really, is going up against a real full-grown man. A real full-grown man. Watching him, he's midfield. He's going to protect him. And why can't he play with Goldstein? Why can't you give but you can give Goldstein a chop out. Goldstein went forward and kicked that goal the other week. Do you know what I mean? Give him a chop out. Play him 60% of the time. Vigo comes in. He does X, Y, Z for 40% of the game.
But I don't think we can play. I don't think we can carry 2 meter Goldstein and Vigo.
Well, you drop.
I mean, maybe we can. Maybe we can now with all of our tall players on the injury list.
Drop Peter because Peter was unfashionable at the start, or even Peter go back to his 2 meter rucking days to protect him if it goes wrong.
Yeah, so 2 meter is the supporting ruck. 2 meter Peter supports Goldstein now. So, and you know what? Yeah, I think I've argued against myself here and everybody in the chat, and you have convinced me. This is the year to do it, to see what Vigo's got, to give him that experience and the exposure to your Max Gawns, your best rucks in the league. So, yeah, I reckon we just get him in, to be quite honest, as, maybe in the next couple of weeks or just before the bye, and then if he needs a rest, he has the bye. So, I completely agree. This is a great call, Snazzy Shoes. Hello, how are you? Is Vigo progressing quicker than Nick Bryan did? You know what? I think he is. Having went to the VFL when it was a few weeks ago, I thought he moved much better than what I saw from Bryan. And Bryan was in the VFL for how many years? Quite a few years. So, yeah, I wonder what that says about Bryan. There's still no word on him, on his contract situation. So who really knows? Dave, you went to the VFL last week. I saw him live against Brisbane and he dominated. He looks like he's 12. He's just a big boy. Yeah. As Pommy said, he watched that game.
And Dave, I'm sure you'll back me up here. He does so much work around the ground. So like watching his game just in isolation, because you've got my mate there as well, Dom McCoo. Shout out, Dom. Former sponsor we used to sponsor him when he played for Carlton. Absolutely broke my heart when they got rid of him. But I think when you watch him play, he does a lot of work around the ground as well. He was quite solid defensively. So I don't think he would be the type of player that if you brought him in, let's just say you brought him in against next week or against Jared Witts, I don't think he's going to be that type of player that's going to get 0 hit outs, 0 marks, 0 tackles and be a liability. I think he'll still compete at some effort. Do you know what I mean? To do something. Yeah, spot on. So I don't think it's not like he's a mobile ruckman like Nick Bryan is. Very mobile. Nick Bryan's built like a twig, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, he is.
He's not Todd Goldstein, big ox. He's meant to be mobile, give you something around the ground. So then players, like look at Tim English. Tim English, the
Yes.
most overrated ruckman in the competition. Sometimes he gets battered in the ruck, but it's them marks he takes around the ground, them goals he kicks late that really suddenly you go, hang about, he's had a good game. So I like it.
Troy, can you please confirm or deny this and where you heard it and what source? Because if this is true, I'm going to have a little cry. I did not hear anything about Blackiston getting injured at you just confirm here in training already. I haven't heard that. Somebody, is this just are you hearing this as a rumor? Because
no.
That's going to make me just pack it all in. There will be no more Bomber banter. There can be no more meterage added to the rehab group. I draw the line at 20 meters. That is what's on there. All right, Pom, we are going to move to a little fun game to finish. Chat. You are all welcome to participate. You will all be in contention for winning the prize against Pom.
Oh, no.
I am going to try and do and work my magic in this. I don't quite know how this bloody... Oh, all right, here we go. This is the thing I wanted. Pommy and chat, this is what you will win if you get the competition, this little game, correct. All right, Fiona, get your technology hat on. Where did I put it? Here. All right. Oh, here we go. You're going to win a little cookie pack. Obviously, you're going to win it's going to be a Carlton equivalent or a Pies equivalent to whoever wins. So these are cookies. You will get the Carlton emblem and the sash, and you can, if you want a personalised little number on the Guernseys, you can do that too. So whoever wins this game, I'm going to take note of all of your comments and Pommy's comments, who he picks for this game, and you will win this, okay? Pommy, are you intrigued? Are you motivated by this?
I'm intrigued. I'm just thinking Essendon Baker having to ice the Carlton name on a thing, like the chances of that being spat in must be very high.
You know what? Only professionalism here in my studio. There is absolutely only the highest level of professionalism, and I have done Collingwood cakes and Carlton cakes and Richmond cakes, and I think that's all the cake. Bulldogs cakes. So no, there is, and since I've been doing this, and now that Carlton fans have endeared themselves to me, easy peasy. All right,
okay,
are you ready? Are you ready for the
cookies.
challenge? I'm not making it easy though, okay?
Okay.
All right. So this is you get to pick which option you want to go for. So the first option. All right. So you can choose which option do you think you'll get right, right?
Okay.
You can choose to pick the first goal kicker and the first point kicker. Okay? That's one option. Or you can choose to give me the highest disposal getter for the end of the game, the highest tackle getter for the end of the game, and the game winner. So they're pretty obvious, easy-ish ones, but you've got to do less work with the first option. So what do you chat as well? You get to pick one option. So if you pick the first option, you got to get the first goal kicker and the first score kicker, the first point kicker. If you choose to go with to put your efforts behind the second option, it's the highest disposals at the end of the game, the highest tackles, and the overall game winner. Pommy, what are you going with?
Okay, we'll go option 2 because I think that.
No, when I say game winner, as in the final score.
Oh, the actual.
Joe?
I've got to nail the final score too.
As in, like, you don't have to tell me 72-10. You just tell me Essendon or Carlton.
Oh, okay, yeah, easy. We'll go number 2, option 2.
So for you're picking. Pommy's picking option 2, in which he's got to tell me which player, either team, is going to get the highest disposals for the game. Which player is going to get the highest tackles for the game overall on the ground, and the overall whoever wins the game. So you're going option 2?
Okay. So yeah, so most disposals for a player, is it?
Yeah,
in the whole game?
For any player on the team out of the whole at the end of the game. So all right, Pom, what are you going?
Disposals in the entire game. We will go with Adam Chera.
Okay. Who are you going for the highest tackle count?
Oh dear. There we are. This is where it's going to be won and lost.
You have to think. I'm gonna jot down. All right, ethnic. You're going your first goal. I'm jotting this down. First goal, Mackay. You're going Big Harry. First point, Cax. All right. All right, I've jotted that
most
down.
tackles when you're ready.
Gotcha. Yep, go, Pom.
Okay, Patrick Cripps.
Most tackles. Okay, Cripper. That's it. How's he going for tackles this year?
Only Mark Pitternet has laid more tackles per game than our
Mark
great
Pitternet, the ruckman.
Yeah, he had 7 tackles in his only appearance for us. He didn't do anything else, but I'll give him this. He bodied more people than Lily Phillips. So well done to him.
We couldn't end this chat without one of those. Okay, and the final game winner, I think you've already told us you're going for the Blues, yeah? All right. So to confirm, chat, you've got to give me the highest disposal getter for the whole ground, the highest tackle getters for the whole game, and the game winner. If you go for option 1, like Ethnic did, you've got to give me the first goal scorer. It can be any team, just the first goal scorer for the game, and the first point scorer. Shua was bought. Sorry, terrible in pronouncing that. You're thinking Caldwell for most tackles. Yeah, I think that is a.
I liked Shua's question earlier. A great reference to the Carlton channel the other night. Sanders, one of my hosts claimed that people are now starting to call Sarnies or Sangers Sanders, and I was deeply disgusted that is the new slang for a sandwich.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that.
I've never heard it, but he reckoned all the young people who had started in his office were calling sandwiches Sanders, and then we were told that they were also a Japanese sandwich. So it completely changed my life. It was an educational session. So well done, Shua, for bringing that up. I haven't forgotten.
Well, there you go. You've made a mark, Shua. Well done. All right. So before I end the chat, because you won't have the option to contribute and to put your choices in once I end the live and end the stream. So just to confirm, you have 2 options to enter the competition. You can either give me the first goal kicker and the first point kicker overall, any team, or you can choose to give me the highest disposal getter at the end of the game overall, over the ground, either team, the highest tackle getter, and the overall game winner. So I'll give you all a few more minutes to pop in your picks, and then I will get in contact with whoever wins. I am sure I really want there to be a winner in this.
Hey, Petra, I reckon that's a lock, mate. First goal, Chincotta. I'll absolutely lose my banana if he gets the first.
Right, who's gone for Chincotta? Did you say
Petra? Petra knows how this works. Well done.
Hang on, I need to find Petra. Where'd she go?
Right. All
right, Petra, can you give me a first point scorer too, so I can jot down your who's going to get the first point? Oh my God! If you get that,
go rushed behind first. Rushed first behind.
It can be
from the kick in.
It can be a rushed. Yep, that counts. Bomber boy, you've gone first point does and first goal 2 meter. Yep, okay, you've gone full Essendon there. Great. Option 2, most disposals. Mick, you've gone Zach Merritt, most tackles, Colders, and Carlton to win. Not bad at all. I would say that's a logical call. Langy, what are you going? You're going Merritt for the disposals, Hewitt for the tackles. Good. Blues by 11. Okay. Yep. I think that's pretty good. First three. Richard. Damn, Richard, you should have told me. I would have added that as one of the options. Scotty, lunchtime catch up. You're going first goal Martin, first point Mackay. Okay. Yep. Troy, what are you using?
There's a lot of positive Essendon for a team that is self-depreciating. You're very confident in this one. Well done, you.
No,
well done, you.
But can you see that but we're confident in our abilities, but nobody's tipped us to win. It's all been Come on, we think okay. I'm just waiting for Petra because I don't want her to miss out. Has she come in with who she's picked for a point? If she hasn't, but she ends up.
I haven't seen it.
If you see her, if I end this and she hasn't, and she ends up on one of your lives or one of your recordings, Pommy, can you just ask her who's going to get the point, and then let me know so I can make sure. I
will do. Yes, I will do, and hopefully a Carlton person wins the cookies.
No, that's fine. I would be more than happy to do them for one of the fabulous Carlton people in here. Ethnic, you're always keeping it cheeky, aren't you? First three Brownlow votes, Cripps. As in for the year? Are you saying that he wouldn't have got any for the year? Is that true, Pom? You don't think?
Oh, Patrick Cripps definitely will have got 3 Brownlow votes.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
maybe I'm misinterpreting that.
How do you think he managed to snag over 40? I mean, he probably polled 3 in at least 2 of our losses. Bless him.
Yeah, okay. Bridget, how are you, Bridget? You are one of the OG Carlton fans here. Don't have to put mine in the pool thought for you, and I'm all the way in Perth. That's okay. I post them, Bridget. I post them in a nice safe box. They'll all be individually heat sealed in little cello bags. So absolutely put your picks in. Which choice
Bridget,
are you going with?
Yours is a brilliant guess as well. Most tackles, Chincotta, disposals, Nick Martin, winner, Carlton. That's strong.
Where?
Oh, Fiona.
Who?
Above Stewart's first goal, Hewitt. Below Moby's first goal, Kako. Kerno, first point.
But who were you? Who was saying the Chincotta?
Bridget.
No, that was Petra, wasn't it?
No,
Petra
Bridget
first
went
goal.
most tackles, most disposals, and winners.
Okay. So Bridget, you have put your picks in. Oh God, as you can see that Pommy's all over this. I can't look at the chat and talk to Pommy and migrate the competition at the same time. So long as you've got your picks in, because I can absolutely post them to you. So I've posted them all over Australia. So absolutely, if you are interstate and you're thinking that I can't, definitely get them in. No, just for this game. Cripps a lock for 3 votes. Oh, right. Okay. Oh, look who it is. It's Tommy and Nick from the US. You're having your breakfast. I think you're having your breakfast right now. Okay, your Bombers to win by 18. Voster gets sacked on Monday. Wow. All right. That wasn't part of one of the questions I had. But all right, Tammy and Nick, can you tell me also who's going to get the highest disposals and who's going to get the most tackles? I'll add that to your Bombers, the game winner. You've chosen the Bombers. So just give me your highest disposals. Actually, I don't know if I can post the cookies to the US. I think there'll be someone at the borders checking that. So maybe when you're back, I know you come back to Melbourne often. You'll have to let me know when you're in the country or in the state, and I will get them to you. All right. I'll give you another couple of minutes. I think in the meantime, I will bid an absolutely incredible, huge goodbye to my guest. Thank you, Pommy, for everything you have done for me, for all the support and all the time you give me and the Essendon supporters in general. I absolutely adore you. You are such a addition to the fan content online. We laugh. So many of us just watch you and laugh with you because you are so entertaining. And I just can't. I think so highly of you. So thank you for everything you've done for me.
Cheers, Fiona. Well, look, you've done most of it yourself. All I did was just give you a little push. But honestly, you're doing amazing work. It's tough out there. It is tough out there, but you're doing fantastic. And you know what? Whatever happens, I'll still love all of you in chat this weekend.
And that's the main thing. You'll all still be welcome. And you know what the good thing is? At least on Sunday night, all of the Carlton fans will be in Terry's fan cams and not on my fan cam. So at least I'll get a little bit of a break from any trolling, maybe, hopefully.
I just have to watch this game 3 times, just so you know. So just always think, when Carlton lose, there'll be a Pom somewhere watching the game 3 times for 3 different shows. So it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for me.
Oh, God. Okay. Thinking of you, Pommy. All right, Pommy, thank you so much. I will definitely chat to you during the week. Everybody, what games are you doing this weekend, Pom? Are you live?
Oh, dear.
Whoever doesn't know, Pommy also does live watches of some of the other games, which is fantastic as a neutral to not have to stress and just go into the chat. He's got a fantastic group of regulars who are always there, and it's fun and interesting. And no stress for once. So which games are you doing this weekend, Pom?
Well, we have a nice easy week this week. So you've got a few specials. I'll be live tomorrow for Adelaide versus Lions. Saturday, I am live twice. You get me twice. I've got the great man Dylan Alexander and me are doing a live watch along of the national championships.
Are you talking of this Dylan Alexander here? Hi, Dylan.
Yes. And then in the evening, I'm watching the GWS Frauds versus Port Adelaide, which will be fun. And then I'll be live, obviously, for Carlton versus Essendon. And then on the great man himself, the King's birthday, I'll be watching Collingwood versus Melbourne. So you'll have me a few times.
Brilliant. Absolutely can't get enough of you. And I highly recommend any of you, for any of those that you can make, jump onto Pom's channel because it's fun. It's just so much fun while you got the game streaming. If you don't like the commentary that's on, you just mute that and you listen to Pom. It's fun. And as I said, the group in the chat is fun too. So absolutely check that out. All right, Pommy, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you so much. I love you and we'll catch up soon.
Much love. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy your night.
Good night. Bye. All right, chat. All right, I've just given everybody a few seconds. Tammy and Nick. Yeah, oh, absolutely. I can send them to your nephew. 100%. Absolutely, that works. So let me just double check. Did you get your most disposals, Caldwell, first score caddy, and most tackles, please? Just give me your most tackles, and then we're done. Everybody else got your. Trump will put tariffs on your cookies, Fiona. Oh my God. I know. Like trying to get merch from China now. Everything, all the people, the guys at the gym are telling me there's too many tariffs. Don't even bother. I don't know. Low key, I don't even know. I don't even understand, honestly, what they're on about. But I know that that's not a good thing. But correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's pulled them back or they've had an agreement of some sort. I don't know. Langy, you're watching whichever fan cams that lose. Okay. Right. I still think if Carlton lose, they're not gonna, but if they do, Carlton ones are going to be much more interesting than if we lose because, again, we're the rescue dog, the beaten down rescue dog that when we get a crumb, we're happy. So if the team puts in a lot of effort, we're generally pretty happy. But yeah, true. Kylie, good night. It's been wonderful having you. So nice to virtually meet you. Thank you for all your support. Ethnic, brave stuff doing live streams, especially with his own team playing. He really is. But he's so he's measured, but he also has a way of expressing how everybody else is feeling inside. That's how I would imagine. I don't think I've watched him do an Essendon game yet this year. But if I was a team supporting one of the teams he's doing it for, he kind of mirrors how one of us would feel inside, I think. Hi, Robert. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Oh, yes, Adam. Why didn't you come through with this earlier? We didn't even talk about the subs. You're right. I actually don't know who Essendon will name as a sub. If we drop Sardis and Archer Day Wicks. All right, quick 2-second question. Who's going to be the sub? All right, gotcha. Selection, please, Fiona. What are you talking about, Adam? Are you saying for the competition? You want to put in one? Tabby and Nick. Oh, you're changing the tackles to Archie Roberts. Gotcha. Yep, thank you. Fiona, will you call Blue Abroad live while doing fan cams? Firstly, I wouldn't have the foggiest clue if that's possible or how it's possible. So it would have to be, can 2 lives go at the same time on the same screen? That would be an interesting thing for YouTube to do. Probably not. Okay, everyone as well. Yes, Essendon VFL versus Blues at Windy Hill, 2 p.m. on Sunday. That's a good one to get down to if you feel like a full day of footy. 2 p.m. at Windy Hill and then run over to the G. How much time does that leave for you to get over to the G? Oof, in the rain. That will be fun. Pack your ponchos, people. Robert, no, Fiona, you love beat us Blues like we love beating you Dons. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm here for the theatre of it, 100%. I don't feel the vitriol that a lot of the older generations feel in terms of the rivalry, and especially now having met and connected with a lot of you Carlton. I really do mean that. You've all changed my opinion of Carlton's fan base. So that's fantastic. Okay. Yep, I got your selection, Mr. Universe. Yep, brilliant. All right, Adam, you've got to give me your option one is you can give me the first goal kicker and the first point kicker for any team or just across the ground. Who's going to be the first goal kicker, either team, or you have to give me the highest disposal getter for the game, the highest tackle getter for the game, and the overall game winner. So Carlton or Essendon. So tell me which choice is going to be yours, and then give me your picks, and I'll put you in the I'll put you on my notes, and then you will win that cookie pack in whichever team theme you like. Oh, God, are the dogs on Fraud Watch? What's the score? Somebody give me the score, please. Update of the dogs on Fraud Watch. That doesn't make sense. It's Hawthorn, no? Oh, crazy. Hobbs named the intruder. Hobbs named on the field. Doubt he will be sub on form. Probably Perkins should have been relegated. I agree, the intruder. But if he's named on the field, he can still be the sub, no? Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, Adam, you want to do the first option? So give me who's going to be the first goal kicker and the first point getter. Give me two names. Who's going to do that? Richard, dogs aren't kicking 6 goals in the last to win. Is it already the last quarter? The Hawks are up by 28, but I thought they were finished. I thought they were pretenders. What? That's crazy, people. This season, I'm not sure about that. Pom does all the teams, all clubs welcome on his channel. Often chats end up about random things, not just the game. Last game was chatting about old horror movies. Exactly, that's what I love it. There's it's a way to get a new perspective on other teams' fans. I've really enjoyed it, and you kind of realize that there are some individuals who ruin it for an entire fan base, the perception of an entire fan base, and I think Carlton particularly, North Melbourne and St Kilda, have done that for me because they've trolled me the most on Twitter over the years, and it's just put a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But, Pom and Terry and you guys have definitely started to turn that wheel, so which is fantastic. Absolutely amazing. Hawks going in hard. Amazing. Martin and Curnow. Gotcha, Adam. So first goal scorer, Martin. First point getter, Curnow. All right, Adam. I will be in touch if you win, or you get in touch if that comes to fruition. Joe, yep, got you. I will at the end of this. I get the comments, so I'll go back and I'll put them in a spreadsheet. Okay, all right, everybody. I'll leave it there. Give you all a break from me now. You won't have to see me again until Sunday night. Fan cams. I've started them at 10:20. Could be a little bit later, who knows, but 10:20 probably at the earliest. Once again, thank you so much for all your donations you have started. I'll remember this night forever as the first time that I officially hit the donation getting super chat, whatever the bloody hell it's called, mark, and I'll remember all of you. Absolutely, that's how my brain works. I'll remember all of you who donated, and you can all say that you were part of the very first group who contributed in that way. So thank you so much. It means the absolute world. If you haven't subscribed, and if you're a Carlton person, please subscribe. And I won't be offended if you then mute the channel, if that's an option to do on YouTube. I still don't know, but it would just help me. I'm almost at the 1,000. I hope I'm about under 100 to get to 1,000 subscribers now. In only 2 months. So I'm really proud of that. And thank you all so much for being a part of it. And thank you to everyone who has, been in the chat tonight. As always, absolutely incredible. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy I'm at 9:25. Incredible. Yay. Oh, hang on. 9:25, 9:16, 9:17. You're all giving me different answers. Some people need to refresh the page. I'm going to choose to go with Jack on that. All right, team. Have a great weekend. I will see you Sunday night. Oh, look. And, of course, because she's not ready to put her overlay on, I'm out.